Aluxers, meeting and getting to know people doesn't have to be a daunting prospect. If you can steer clear of asking questions that don't shut down dialogue and don't require one-worded answers, then you'll be just fine. Remember, people love talking about themselves, so dig a bit deeper to find out who they truly are. These questions are also great for couples to gain insight, understanding, and create a closer bond between you both. Welcome to Alux.com. The place where future billionaires come to get inspired. If you're not subscribed yet, you're missing out. But enough with the intro, let's go soul-searching together. Number 1. What do you believe stands between you and complete happiness? We all have a wall that we've built up to protect ourselves, and often that wall is what's holding us back from being truly happy. We're afraid of letting people in, trusting too much, or doing something that we believe others will judge us for. It's not always easy to let go of inhibitions and just do what's best for you, we understand. But asking this question will give you far greater insight to the person you're with. Perhaps their happiness is on par with what you're seeking too, and you have someone to share the journey with. Remember, happiness is a journey and not just a destination. Number 2. At what point are we good enough? When will we accept ourselves just as we are? Aluxers, on whose grid are you deciding when you're going to be good enough? Who has set the standard for you that you feel you need to live up to expectations? Was it a parent that wanted you to be a rugby player or a ballet dancer because that was their dream and they're living vicariously through you? Was it a partner that wanted you to earn more money by doing a job you despise? Or is it just your own thinking that is causing you mental turmoil? Everyone has different reasons for not feeling not good enough. Always remember that there is more right with you than wrong, and shift your focus on the progress and how far you've come, as opposed to how far you still have to go. Once you change your thinking or perspective, you'll learn to value yourself so much more. Number 3. If you had a friend who spoke to you in the same way you speak to yourself, how long would you allow that person to be your friend? Like we said in our video, 10 ways to restart your life, you become your rhetoric. If you keep telling yourself you can't do something, surprise, you won't be able to do it. It's time to start changing the way you speak to yourself in your head. It's not easy, but the moment you hear yourself saying something awful or discouraging, stop immediately and replace that thought with something positive. And we're certain the answer to this question would be a resounding no. We would not want to remain friends with someone that was constantly putting us down. It's not okay if a friend does it, and it's not okay if you do it. Number 4. If you could go back in time, would you change anything or do it all the same? Aluxers, there's a time and place for a general chit-chat. You're not going to be standing in the line at Walmart asking the person in front of you any of these thought-provoking questions. Well, I mean, you could, but security might be there before you finished asking the question because they're a bit suspicious. We love this question for its simplicity. It gives both of you an opportunity to answer it. It shows you trust the person you're asking, and in turn, they can trust you as the answer to this question may be deeply personal and still have hurt and regret lingering with it. Number 5. What is one quality you wish every human on Earth possessed? Sadly, many people find these sorts of attributes something to be proud of. How many people they've slept with, how they've crooked the government out of tax money, or how much their latest car cost. But those mean nothing. Honesty, humility, kindness, perseverance, selflessness, determination, and a joy for life. All of these qualities will serve you so much better than the notches on your bedpost, the dirty money in your bank account, or the cost of a fancy car. We credit Anonymous for these true words. Being a good person does not depend on your religion, status in life, race, skin color, political views, or culture. It depends on how you treat others. Number 6. How do you give a voice to the voiceless? Finding out what a person's cause is, close to their heart, reveals a lot about their personality. For starters, if they don't have any cause they're interested in, it's a good time to start getting them more actively involved in their community. Doing good is a great way to connect with people and feel better about yourself. Otherwise, their passion could be working at the local animal shelter, raising money for the dogs and cats, or they love volunteering at a home for children with disabilities. Find out what makes them tick, and you'll uncover a side of their personality that you wouldn't have if you'd merely said, "It's another windy day, isn't it?" Number 7. What would you like to be remembered for? As cliche as some of these answers might sound, they're ones that crop up repetitively for people who've been asked this exact question. And what's admirable about the same answers being given is that inherently, most people want to be kind, gracious, forgiving, and honest. Sometimes we do lose our way a little bit, but if we can remind ourselves of how we want to be remembered, it'll help us get ourselves back on track. Author of Lessons Learned from the Path Less Traveled, Zero Dean, once said, "There's no time like the present to start being the person you want to be remembered as." Number 8. Who's the person you wish you could cut from your life but are too afraid to? Aluxers, we completely understand how difficult it is to cut toxic people from our lives. We are wrapped with guilt, fear, and worry about what people think. It's a topic we'll no doubt find common ground, as we've all had to acknowledge someone who is toxic in our lives and decide how to handle the situation. We highly recommend the book Toxic Relationships by Hope Uttaram, which you can hear for free on Audible by using the link Alux.com/freebook. The book carries the idea that understanding all types of toxicity will help you find freedom, learn to set guidelines with parents and people, and you'll learn to live a much more mentally healthy lifestyle. Give it a listen and then recommend it to a person you're conversing with to help them out too. Number 9. What life lesson do you wish you had known when you were younger, but only figured out with age? Having asked a friend the same question, she replied with, "I wish I had not been such a drain on my parents." When probed further, she explained it like this: "If I had listened to my parents the first time, I wouldn't have made them too tired to enjoy quality time with me." So her desire would be to have done the simple things like hang up her towel, unpack her lunchbox after school, and make her bed each morning. That way, her parents wouldn't have been fed up with the nagging her all the time and spent the time playing with her instead. It's a realization that only comes with age, so what do you wish you had known when you were younger? Number 10. Who would you like to say sorry to and why? In the words of Justin Bieber, is it too late now to say sorry? Aluxers, is it ever too late to apologize? Perhaps not, but then you can't expect the person to forgive you for a start. The apology must come from the heart, but not because you feel guilted into doing it and you need to make the change and never do that indiscretion again. Perhaps you need to apologize to a friend at school who you bullied, or you cheated on a partner and haven't made proper amends, or perhaps you were awful to your parents and just behaved like an entitled brat. We don't know, but acknowledging where you went wrong and saying sorry is never a bad thing. Leave the ego behind, and even if the person doesn't accept the apology, walk away with your head held high. Number 11. What activity do you do that makes you lose track of time? This is one of our favorites, and it's a classier way of asking someone, "What's your hobby?" What makes this one special is you understand how often it's the most basic activities that make people so happy they lose track of time. Playing with pets makes many people completely lose track of time. Sticking your nose into a good book makes an hour seem like 5 minutes. Gardening from sunrise until you're bursting with sweat because it's midday and you didn't even realize it. Or just hanging out with your besties until one says, "Oh my goodness, where did the time go?" All of those moments cost nothing and mean the most to us. Number 12. What would you do differently if you weren't afraid of being judged? Would you strut down the beach in a yellow polka dot bikini? Would you try surfing lessons, even though you know you're going to fall off the board over and over again? What about heading to an art class to learn how to use watercolors? What are you too afraid to do because you're worried about what people will think of you? Here's the thing, people are gonna judge you no matter what, so you might as well do what you bloody well please, as long as what you're doing ties in beautifully with how you'd like to be remembered. Now, people will remember you as fearless, brave, unafraid, and say things like, "I wish I was more like that." Number 13. Would you break the law to help a loved one? Tough question, this one, isn't it? We've seen many examples of parents who break the law to help their children, or couples who lie and say they were with their partner when they weren't. It happens all the time. This is a question that would see a dinner table divided, so throw it out there and sit back and watch the action unfold. It'll be far more entertaining than reading the comments section of a pro versus anti-vaxxer. Speaking of which, be sure to watch our video, The 15 Most Controversial Parenting Topics, on our sister channel, New Parents. Number 14. Do you believe humans are progressing as a race or regressing, and why? The jury is out on this one, and it'll be an interesting conversation to have. Some might be 100% convinced that we're only moving forward, that we are better off than we were 50, 100, or 150 years ago. Others will vehemently disagree, pulling in arguments like the amount of screen time people are having, the social media addictions, the lack of real face time as opposed to screen time, and we can continue with this until we're blue in the face. Suffice it to say, the question is thought-provoking, and there's no right or wrong answer. Just don't tell that to the person you've asked. Number 15. What is the lie you tell yourself most often? I'm going to start leading a healthy lifestyle tomorrow. I'm only going to drink on the weekends. I don't care what other people think of me. I'm so pathetic at math. I'm ugly, fat, stupid. You know your own lies that you tell yourself on the daily. It's time to change that rhetoric, Aluxers, and start dispelling some of the lies you've convinced yourself are truth. Like American writer Richard Bach once said, "The worst lies are the ones we tell ourselves." So, Aluxers, what questions on this list do you believe are the most thought-provoking? As always, we value your input in the comments section. Now, as a thank you for staying with us, Aluxers, we have one final question to share with you. Do you think it would be better if animals could communicate with humans? What do you think your pet would say to you? This is such a fun question, and we're sure whoever you're chatting with will appreciate it. We think the answers would be brilliant. Everything from "stop feeding me the same meal every day" to strings of WhatsApp messages, like this one. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxers. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question on our website, Alux.com. Thank you for being an Aluxer, and we'll see you back tomorrow.